Hey everybody, I think I made 11:11. How are you all? So, what's news? I'm going to wait to see if anyone hops on. I'm going to leave myself a message. Here come some people. Hello. I'm going to leave myself a message because when I do that, I can see your comments. Okay, I'm seeing everyone hopping on Instagram. I'm seeing the Impish Scribe. Hello, long time no see. Hi guys. Let me know where you're from, guys, so I can greet you. Hello, Kathy. Where are you? Kathy Tunney. Hello, Lynn from Pittsburgh. Oh, I just love this. Hello, Annie Oakes from Queensland, Australia. Hi, Elaine. How are you? I'm good. I'm actually pretty good. Hello, good morning, Kezi. Nikki in Florida. Olivier Bourgeois in our living room. Hi, Monique. Where are you, Monique? I know you're in Australia. I don't know where. Karen Stride over on Instagram in sunny Provence. Very nice. Hi, Marilyn in Orange. Thank you for these sessions. Absolutely my pleasure. I mean, honestly, it's quite a thing. I'm actually really enjoying it, but every morning when I wake up, because normally in my working life, you know, I used to be a journalist, as you know, so, and a TV producer. So that was pretty hectic. And, you know, for some years I would, you know, wake up every morning like the rest of the world and jump in the shower and get ready and go to work and all that. And now for the past 20 years that I've been working for myself from home, I just wake up whenever I feel like it. And I, you know, actually very often I don't get dressed until about, I have a bath at 4 p.m. and then I get dressed. So it's all very different because I wake up at like 7:30 or 8 or whatever. I'm like, oh, I've got to get ready. I've got to be in public at 11:11. Anyway, I'm enjoying it and I'm really glad you guys are too. Hi, Helen. Where are you in Tassie, Helen? I grew up in Tassie. Okay, so what we're going to do today is we are going to do 3 things. I'm going to keep it short-ish. I'm going to try and keep it to half an hour because I know I've been going a bit longer and I really, you know, everybody's busy even though we're not busy. I don't know. Are you busy? I've actually just realized why I've been so busy. It's something in my chart. I've been as busy as ever lately. You know, despite being on lockdown, because I always work from home anyway, so it doesn't really make that much difference. The only difference is my son is here. Our son is here all the time. So we're going to talk about 3 things today. The void of course moon, because guess what? The moon is void of course right now. We're going to talk about, we're going to do a bit of chanting, and we're going to do a card for the day. So everybody has a card for the day as a guidance. And if you're in Australia, because I know it's about 11 o'clock your time, depending on where you are in Australia, the card is for tomorrow. It's basically for the next 24 hours. So, yeah. Also, just by the way, if you are Gemini rising and you missed out on signing up for the Gemini rising written in the stars webinar, which went out yesterday, guess what? The recording didn't work. Oh, so annoying. And I'm going to do it again today at midday. So if you are Gemini rising and you would like to find out everything you ever wanted to know about what it means, what it means for your chart and what's coming up for you the next 12 months, I'm going to do that in under an hour. I'll just give you the email, the web address. It's moonmessages.com/written, moonmessages.com/written, but it's for Gemini rising people only. We did it yesterday. It was really fun. We had about 40 people from around the world on the actual call, and then a lot of people who couldn't make the call and were hoping to be sent the information afterwards, and of course the recording didn't work. And so I just decided it's partly worked. And I was trying to cobble it together, and I thought the easiest thing is just to do it again. So we're doing it again at midday today. Gemini rising people, moonmessages.com/written. Okay, so let's talk about the void of course moon. Have you heard of this? And if not, you're about to find out about something that's actually really, really useful to know. If you're a moon lover, you really need to know about the void of course moon. So the moon is actually void of course right now. I took a look before I came online, and it is at 28 degrees of Aries. We just had the new moon in Aries, and of course, you know, the moon keeps moving after. So the new moon happens when the sun and the moon are in the same place at the same time. But that's only, you know, happens for a moment in time because all the planets are constantly moving. I mean, we sort of hone in on the fact of the new moon, and we are still in what's called the new moon phase. For slightly technical reasons, I'll say what it is just for anybody who's started to study astrology. If you don't study astrology, this probably will sound a bit weird, but just ignore it. Don't let it put you off. Basically, we have the new moon phase when the sun and the moon are conjoined. They're in the same place on the same degree of the zodiac. And then what happens is the moon obviously keeps moving and the sun keeps moving, but the moon's moving faster, and so then it will be 1 degree away, 2 degrees away, and basically up to 45 degrees away of the moon from the sun, we're still in the new moon phase. So we're still very much in the new moon phase, which is why I can redo the Written in the Stars Gemini rising thing today in all good conscience, because even though there's a large new moon wishing element in it, we're still in the new moon phase. So it's still a very, very powerful time to be making new moon wishes. And by the way, if you haven't made your new moon wishes, there's still time to do them in the new moon phase. In fact, you can do new moon wishes anytime, but it's particularly good now. So, okay, so now the moon, so the new moon I think was at about, I think it was at like 4 degrees or something of Aries. It was the very start of Aries, and the moons kept moving and kept moving. It stays in each sign for about 2 and a bit days. And now, I think when I looked, it's at 28 degrees of Aries. So it's just, there's only, when it will get to 29, and then it will hop over into Taurus, okay? So now all the planets in Capricorn at the moment are in the late degrees of Capricorn. They're at like 23, 24, 25 and so on. But the moon has made its last aspect, its last major aspect to another planet, to a planet now before it changes signs. So that is the period when it's said to be void of course. I'll just say that again. And it is a bit sort of, it's not advanced astrology, but it's kind of advanced astrology. It's not advanced astrology, but it's advanced beginner's astrology. So just to say, if you know about astrology, you know we have the 5 main aspects. I don't want to get too technical, but it's the conjunction, the sextile, the trine, the square, and the opposition. So basically, the moon has made its last major aspect to a planet before it changes signs. And in that period, the moon is void of course. If you have my book, Moonology, which I happen to have a copy of here, if you have my book Moonology, it's in there. I don't know what page it's on actually, but it's in at the start of the book. It explains, there's actually a few definitions of the void of course moon, but I'm giving you the main one. So when the moon is void of course, it's said that whatever you begin will bear no fruit. So in theory, if this was my first live webinar 11/11, that would kind of be a bad thing, because it would kind of mean now probably never going to happen, not going to do anything. I mean, when you start something when the moon is void of course, it often will lead nowhere. Now this can be a good thing, as I like to say, and I don't know if there's anyone from the Australian Tax Department listening, but you know, nowadays I actually don't do it because my husband does it and our accountant does it, because now we've got a business and all that, so it's a bit of a different story. But back in the day when I was just, you know, doing my tax returns myself and, you know, with a bit of help from my bookkeeper or whatever, you know, when I was a journalist and it was all just a little me thing instead of a company thing, I would post the letter personally to the Australian Tax Department or the British one or whatever, wherever I pay tax in multiple places. I would put it in the post box when the moon was void of course. And when I lived in Bondi in Sydney in Australia, which was wonderful, I actually had a post box right outside the block of flats that I was living in on Campbell Parade, so in North Bondi. So I would actually, like, if the moon went void of course at 3 a.m, I would literally, and this is no joke, I would literally set my alarm and go outside and put my my tax letter to the tax department in the box at 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. or whatever it was, because I was absolutely determined to get the thing posted at when the moon was void of course, because when things you do when the moon is void of course bear no fruit. And I just didn't want anything from the tax department people. I love you, I pay my tax, I'm very honest, but nobody wants to get anything from the tax department, do they? So I would send it off when the moon was void of course. Now I don't know when it goes off because other people are doing it, but back in the day, you can use it. I had another experience where I broke up with a boyfriend, and just as well actually, because he was quite the philandering rotter. But anyway, I was very hooked into him, and that's another story. It's a kind of, in a way, it was the affair that undid me, that led to me doing what I do now. And I was unsure about whether I wanted to stay with him or split or what I wanted to do. Anyway, eventually, after some time, I was actually living in Bondi as well, but on Brighton Boulevard, for those of you who know Brighton Boulevard in Bondi Beach. I was living there in a flat which had one lovely little balcony which you could see the beach, and I was sitting there, and eventually, after some time of the breakup, he actually came over, and I basically saw him pull up in his car and getting out of the car, and I knew he was coming round to sort of see if we could get back together. And I was still a little bit, I didn't really know, I hadn't really come to my senses. But when I checked later, I looked at my watch, because when you're an astrologer, you learn to make note of times. And I looked at my watch and I checked later, and I saw that the moon was void of course. And I knew it was a good thing, because it meant we were not going to get back together, and even if we did get back together, it wasn't going to go anywhere. So when you do things when the moon is void of course, nothing will come of the matter. So you can use that to your advantage and not. So for example, if you were going on a job interview, ideally you wouldn't be doing it when the moon was void of course if you actually want the job. If you were launching a new business, you wouldn't want to launch it when the moon is void of course. It's just something to be aware of. And there are calculators on the internet, because I know that not everybody can work it out for themselves. There are calculators on the internet. Hello, because the moon is void of course, does it mean it's too late to do our new moon wishes? No, it actually doesn't. But now you come to mention it, it would be better to wait until the moon has moved into Taurus. I'll find out when that is for you after I get off here, because I need to look at my ephemeris. So basically what you want is you want to avoid starting things that you want to continue when the moon is void of course. And just remember, in a process that's ongoing, it might be when you first see the ad in the paper for the job, or the ad online, and then you send your first letter, and then you actually have your interview. There are going to be times where, like, there might be 5 or 6 touch points in a process for getting a new job, say. I would just try and avoid having the interview the first time I meet my potential new employers when the moon is void of course, for example. But it may well be, that there will be some things that happen when the moon is void of course, and there'll be, and still it can all work out. But a really good example I had actually not that long ago was I went and met up with a company. I won't say who it was, but it's a well-known kind of lifestyle brand here in the UK. And we were going to have a meeting about me doing a night with them, doing a talk and so on. And I went and I met them in this very chic cafe and all that. And I looked at my software on my phone for the moon, and the moon was void of course. And I thought, well, this ain't never going to go nowhere, because the first meeting with these people, the moon is void of course. I mean, obviously it's not going to happen. And, bearing in mind I had emails about it and so on, but when the actual meeting was in the void of course moon, it was like, no, not going to happen. Anyway, so I had the meeting, and while we had sort of been led to believe the thing was a done deal, actually they said, you know what, we're actually not going to do it after all. And I was like, well, I knew they weren't going to do it because the moon's void of course. And everyone in my team was quite surprised. They were like, oh, but hang on, I thought it was happening. They're like, no, we actually can't do this after all. And they were like, everyone was like, oh, okay, fine. And then they wrote back a day later and said, actually, we can't do what we thought we were going to do, but we'd still really like to do another date. And I thought, well, it's never going to happen because the moon was void of course anyway. So the date was fixed up. And I thought, oh, well, there you go. I was wrong. I really didn't think this was going to happen. And I also had an intuitive feeling about it. And we were like, okay, fine. So we put the date in the diary, and the date was this week. I think it was this Tuesday. And of course, what happened? It got cancelled because of coronavirus. So it never happened. So it's just a thing to be aware of. When the moon is void, of course, in my Moonology diary, I'm pretty sure I've given you a link so you can find out when the moon is void, of course. But just Google void of course moon calculator, and you will always know when the moon is void of course. Oh, okay, there we go. Jerry says the void of course moon ends at 8:34 p.m. WA time, or 8:34 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Yeah, if anybody knows when the VOC, the void of course moon ends today, please put it in the comments. All right, we're going to do a quick chant for medicine, sound medicine for the world, and then we are going to... Is 2020 void of course? I hope so, because then nothing will come of the matter. And then we're going to do a card for everybody. So start to think about your question. I've done my 108 chants today, but I'm going to do 3 more now with you. All right, so these are the words. Remember, Sanskrit. Let me read you something else from this. Did you tune in yesterday when I told you about this book, which I'm reading, Sound Medicine by Kulreet Chaudhary? It's great. Let me just read you a little bit from, here we are, a random passage about mantras which we're about to do. The earliest mantras were directly perceived from nature by enlightened masters in a state of awakened listening, and then later composed in ancient Tamil and Sanskrit. And I am fairly sure, this it was the Siddhas, a group of people in ancient India. The Siddhas were amongst the first to intuit that universal energy and vibration could be tapped by sound, which is what we do when we chant. These were ancient sages and rishis, or mystic seers, who more than 8,000 years ago discovered they were able to transcend consciousness, connecting to universal energy, once they were able to train their emotions and minds to stay still. Sound medicine. All right, so we are going to tap into the 8,000-year-old wisdom of the rishis and the sages and the siddhas. And the words are, we're going to sing them 3 times. Om Kreem, Kreem being the beach mantra sound for the goddess Kali. Maha Kali, which basically means Mother Kali. Salvarogam, which means all diseases. Nasi Nasi, which means destroy, destroy. And as you say Nasi Nasi, please picture the virus being destroyed around the world, okay? It's medicine. Okay, we're going to start. And then we'll do a card reading. And breathe. Here we go. Om Kreem Mahakali Salvarogam Nasi Nasi. Om Kreem Mahakali Salvarogam Nasi Nasi. Om Kreem Mahakali Salvarogam Nasi Nasi. So easy. I did 108 this morning. It was beautiful. Jackie says moon into Taurus in the UK today at 1:36 p.m. That sounds good. All right. So basically we are looking at about, if you do your new moon wishes about 2.5 hours from now, you're good. You're good to go. And if you do them when the moon is void, of course, it's not the end of the world. Just do them again after. All right, so let us do a card. Have you got a question? What do you want to know? And let me just remind anyone who enjoys learning about the moon, we have our special new moon in Aries offer, by the way, which is if you want to know about how to work with the new moon and the full moon and the void of course moon and chanting and meditations throughout the year for 12 months, we have a super duper special offer because it's the new moon in Aries, by the way, let me remind you. And if you want to sign up for that, because lots and lots of people have, I should have put the link in the description, I'll put it in afterwards, but it's moonmessages.com/Aries offer. moonmessages.com/Aries offer. All right, here's a card. Oh, Adele, that's so cute. Just joined the chant and my 3-year-old just said, I know that one, Mummy. She's been listening in all week. How amazing is that? And here's our card. Who knows that card from the Moonology deck? Meditate and contemplate. So that's the message for us all today. So I'm going to just finish with a little gratitude meditation. Here we go. Just close your eyes and breathe. It's been a very testing time for people, all being in isolation and quarantine, but it's a really good opportunity for us all to go within. So if you're somewhere where you can do it with me, let's do 3 Oms. Simple way to go into a state of gratitude is to think of someone or something you are truly grateful for and put a big smile on your face as you think of them. Just say thank you, thank you. I may not tell you enough, but thank you. All right, going to leave it there. I'll see you back here tomorrow, same time, our 11:11 meeting. Ciao, ciao.